Yeah, I think we have a problem when every single Archon hunt comes jam-packed with a fucking defense mission right in the middle of everything. Hey guys, Izzy here, back with another video, and today we have another Let's Talk About episode where we're going to be talking about Archon hunts again. And when I say talk about, we're going to be complaining all about the Archon hunts. There's a lot of things to complain about, right? There's a lot of spark in the community in regards to, of course, the drop tables, how bullet spongy the Archon hunts can be at times if you don't have certain weapons or certain setups, and just in general, they're not as enjoyable. They feel like an absolute chore. It's not as doing sorties every day, because sorties are pretty easy, so they're not really something that gets in the way. However, when every Archon hunt comes with a fucking defense mission, it is probably one of the most annoying things, because this is a weekly thing, right? And every week, we seem to get a fucking defense mission, except for when we fight Nira, which is kind of weird, because, I mean, it's the only Archon hunt that I know of thus far that has not gotten a defense mission. But for everyone else, it seems like all the missions are the same. And if that's going to be the case, that sucks. I really do wish that they would mix it up a little bit. Maybe get us a survival mission. Like, maybe then it would be, I mean, maybe it's just gonna be kind of insufferable. But regardless, there's a lot of, you know, just issues with Archon hunts right now. And I thought that by now we would have a lot of them kind of resolved. But for the most part, we haven't really had any real improvements, as far as I know, at least, or I haven't noticed any. The drop table is still pretty ass cheeks. Tauforged crystals are still pretty ass cheeks to get as well. You barely have a chance to get one. It's something that you do weekly, so even though it's like, I believe, a 20% chance to get it, it's very low. Well, I believe it's a 20% chance. I'm not exactly sure what percentage it is, but it's still relatively going to be low because of the amount of times that you actually do these missions, which is only weekly, right? So it comes to the point where you'll eventually get one, but probably not the one that you wanted. Like myself, I got the blue crystal, which was actually Tauforged, but I would have probably wanted another one, or like another color one. I really don't remember the names right now, but or yeah, the names in general. I just really don't remember them right now, and I'm not gonna look them up. It's literally 2 a.m. right now as I'm recording this, because I literally had this on my head, and I just kind of want to talk about it, make a video on it, and just I guess talk about it. But the drop table is pretty bad. The chances for getting a Tauforged is pretty bad. There's no other way of getting a Tauforged crystal, which is kind of stupid, in my opinion. Like, these gems should be something that you should be able to get through maybe like the store whenever you do the weeklies for Kahl, and it would make kind of sense, right? Because maybe give them a price where you're not able to get them every week, but maybe get them every 2 weeks. At the very least, that way, it's a little bit more accessible, but not being able to get them and having to rely on every week having a chance to get them is kind of fucking ass, you know? And I understand that the reward table, like the secondary reward table, is still pretty bad, because this is literally just sorties, but just not worth getting. Like, it's not worth doing the Archon hunts for those drops. You're only really doing them for the crystals, and I guess that drop table is just a bonus, but it shouldn't really be just a bonus. It should actually be worth your while. It should be probably be more of the amounts that they're giving, and even then it kind of feels a little bit ass cheeks whenever you get like an endo in the reward, or an Ayatan sculpture. Instead of giving us maybe another sculpture, maybe one of the rarer ones that you aren't able to get. I don't know. I'm bitching. But basically, the defense missions. This is mainly the reason as to why I wanted to talk about this in general, because of the fact that the defense missions seem to pop up every single Archon hunt. And they're not annoying per se because of the the levels of the enemies. That's not really the issue with the defense missions, and I've come to realize that as I did more of these throughout the weeks since the release of the Archon hunts. And it's really just the fucking like defense tile sets that we get are so bad that most of the time you spend a lot of your time doing these defense missions looking for the enemies to kill them, because these defense tile sets are way too big. And not as in the sense that like it's flat and big, no, it's just the whole mission has a lot of layers and is way too big. So enemies are coming out in like they're coming from maybe 28 entrances. So sometimes, or most of the times, they get stuck. Or sometimes they're just not looking for you and they're just hanging out. And it's like, what are we doing? Why are we getting these fucking defense tile sets? Why don't we just make a specific tile set for these Archon hunts? Make them a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit more linear, maybe just more, you're able to view the enemies a bit more. Like, don't give us these ass chic fucking tile sets and make it so that, because what this really does is kind of draw out the whole thing, and you could be taking around 20 to 30 minutes to complete a fucking defense mission because you're having to run around and play hide and seek with these fucking enemies, right? And that's kind of like the annoying part. Right now I haven't even done my Archon hunt just yet, and I don't even feel like doing it because I don't even want to go through the defense mission because it just feels like I'm just gonna have an absolute terrible time, and that's pretty much what's gonna happen, right? So right now Archon hunts just don't feel fun, and it's annoying because it's something that I thought was going to be an extremely good idea, like a very fun thing to do weekly, and it's just been pretty insufferable. Like, it's just been pretty bad, and there's so much to improve, and we really haven't gotten any of the improvements just yet, so it kind of sucks. Right now it just feels like it's in a position where you're better off doing just the Kahl missions and buying the crystals once you of course rank up enough to get them, because it's just not fun. Kahl missions, however, they've been pretty fun. I've enjoyed them thus far. I hope we do get more variations of his missions, because I do feel like they're pretty fun to play around, and it's a breath of fresh air, right? Like, you're not just playing with your Warframe or your Tenno, you're playing as a completely different character. And I don't think I did a talk about in regards to Veilbreaker, primarily because I don't have a lot to say about it other than the fact that I just enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think it's a neat idea, and I do hope that eventually we actually get more characters that we're able to play as, or maybe story sections where we play around as a completely different character and not just, you know, our Tenno and Warframe all the time. It's just a breath of fresh air, and I honestly believed that when Veilbreaker was released, I thought that the Archon hunts were going to be the more enjoyable portion of the update, but it's honestly been Kahl's missions that have been a lot more enjoyable thus far. Now, in terms of at least improvements, obviously the drop table could use some major improvements. At the very least, for now, like, maybe the easier thing to do at the moment is give us more of what's being offered. Like, if you're gonna give me a Yatan sculpture, at least give me 3 of them. Like, why would you just give me 1? This is a literal weekly mission. Like, I get a weekly a sculpture from fucking Maru every week, so why is this only giving me 1 when it's a lot harder than that goddamn mission, right? Obviously, for a lot of people, they don't really want to see the endo, they don't really want to see the sculptures there, and I totally get it. It makes no sense. This is kind of targeted to like a more advanced player base, not advanced, that's probably the wrong word. I guess it's more targeted towards veteran players that have already played through pretty much all the content in the game and are looking for like the next best thing. And the next best thing is actually the crystals, and that's what you get right every on the weekly mission. Unfortunately, the best part of the crystal is locked behind chance, and there's no way of actually getting it. I do think that eventually we should be able to buy them off from Kahl, like I mentioned, even if the price is something that you would only be able to hit once you reach the second week. Like, for example, like instead of 90, give it I don't know, 180. That way it pretty much takes you 2 weeks to get, but at least it's guaranteeing you that you're going to get it on that week, and you can just wait until the store actually rotates to the one that you want to buy it. So it's a guarantee. That's pretty much what I think would be fair for the crystals, for the Tauforged at least. Keep it as a chance, but at least give us the option for it to be at least guaranteed. Because we already have the crystals guaranteed, why don't we get the Tauforged, guaranteed? It just, I don't know, just make no sense to me. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe for some people it makes sense. I just don't feel like it makes sense at all to me. And at least as for the missions, please just give us other missions. Don't just give us fucking defenses. There's so many missions to do. Maybe give us like a type of capture mission. The path to the fucking Archon doesn't have to be this insufferable. You can make it at least somewhat enjoyable. Give us like a variation of captures. Maybe we have to capture 2 targets instead of 1. I don't know. Just think of something that's not fucking defense. And if at least you're going to make it so that every single Archon has a fucking defense, make a different tile set. Don't give us the worst tile set available, because it's just not fun. It's just not fun to sit through. Like, even if you have a very decent comp with random players or maybe with your clan, it's still not a great experience. It's not fun at all. And yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say about the Archon hunts. Right now, I believe improvements are definitely needed. They're not going in a very well direction. Right now, they're not. As far as I know, they haven't really done anything to improve upon. I haven't seen any notices or statements stating that they are making some changes. They haven't stated any changes at all. So it just feels like we're kind of standing here for change, because this ain't going as well. I do, of course, still believe that this is an incredible concept. Just terribly executed, honestly. Terribly executed. And I do feel like the boss fights in and of itself, they're structured pretty well. I like their gimmicks. I like their mechanics. But they just have to improve the path to them. And I don't know what to say about the boss themselves, because honestly, I don't envy DE at all for having to balance, the Archon battles themselves, the showdowns, because it's gonna be hard, right? Like, you're either gonna make it extremely hard for most of the player base, or you're just gonna make it easy for everyone. And there's kind of like no fucking in between. Like, it's very hard to get into that in between because of how big the power creep in Warframe has gotten. So yeah, but I do believe that they're able to give us some really good boss fights, because we've had some really good boss fights aside from the Archons themselves. We've had the two spider bosses, the Exploiter Orb and the Profit Taker, which I honestly enjoyed a lot, and I do them from time to time. They're fun fights. And even the Eidolons themselves are a pretty fun fight as well, especially when you do them in groups. You can definitely solo them. They're not really hard. I just enjoy playing with people. But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling off for too long. I do, of course, apologize. It's just me, But anyways, thank you guys for coming to my a little rant, I guess, for the Archon hunts. I hope that soon we happen to get a shout out or a statement, some sort of news that they're actually working on improving the Archon hunt. And yeah, I hope I see you guys on the next one. Let me know if you guys want to let me know what you guys would suggest maybe to improve these, and leave them in the comments section below. And if you haven't seen anything in regards to like the Archon hunts, I do go over them in detail in my Let's Talk About the Archon hunts a first episode, basically. So I'll leave a link in the description below, but it's also going to be in the Let's Talk About playlist. So if you guys want to search it there, you can definitely do so. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling off too long. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video, and I hope you have a great one. Peace.